Hello, my diamonds. SheilaTruelove here with you. I just got in this evening and I wanted to make a couple of quick videos that I think is very important to get out there. And right now I want to share a clip with you regarding notes from a therapist. And we'll break it down as we go along. Okay, let's listen in.
Let me just say that I'm so proud of this generation because a lot of us are using therapy to try to address our intergenerational trauma, and that's wonderful. At the same time, I realize that there is a lot of wasted energy that occurs within the therapy session. A lot of people waste their time and energy trying to rebuff and resist and deny certain observations of the therapist. They will spend the entire session trying to intellectualize, trying to rationalize, trying to get the therapist to see and co-sign their dysfunction. And I realize that that's just wasted energy. That's energy that can be directed towards the healing process. And so if you are in therapy right now, please check yourself. Take the temperature inside your own mind. Begin to explore ways in which you might be resistant and try to rebuff the observations of the therapist, because a lot of times they can.
Now, my thing regarding that, you have to understand, just because a person is a therapist, a doctor, a social worker, a lawyer, that don't mean that they're a good one. Do you know how many therapists, social workers, doctors started off with good intentions, but then they suffer from burnout, and now their main concern is a dollar? Just because you are a professional person don't mean you're good. I want to say that again. It don't mean you're a good one. I recently had a therapy session with my son and I ended up hanging up because, one, the woman accused me of something that I wasn't guilty of. Two, we had therapy with her 3 years ago, and she was lousy even then. The only reason why I rescheduled it with her is because she was the only one available, and she's always available. Why? Because nobody really respects her because she lacks experience. I set up our meeting with a coach who had her psychology degree. And the reason why I use her, she has life experience. She's a Jehovah's Witness, an active one. She would understand both of our sides. She has a full understanding of highly religious, high controlled religions. That's why I needed her. I wanted her to work for the both of us. But because she wasn't a therapist, psychology. She works with nothing but Jehovah's Witnesses. They all go to her. But because she didn't have her degree, her license, whatever, child. And then that didn't work. So then I set up another meeting, but he said he wanted to do that after he comes back from vacation. So here I go again. I find what is the closest date, what is the earliest. And of course, it was this whack job counselor, not even a psychiatrist or a psychologist. She has no life experience. She has no children. She don't have a clue about highly controlled religions. But the thing that pissed me off why I hung up, because you accused me of something that I wasn't guilty of. You did that right out the gate. She wasn't qualified anyway. I could run circles around her. I'm a paid advice coach. People literally call up, spend their money to speak to me. This woman has no experience when it comes to being a parent. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many classes you take. Just like swimming. You can read all the books, take all the classes, but until you jump in that pool, baby. The same thing when it comes to riding a bike. Until you get on that bike, I don't care your books, how you study, blah, blah, blah. No, she had no experience in much of anything. The first time we met with her, I barely could stomach her.
Patterns. They train to see certain patterns of behavior that tend to emerge unconsciously and consciously. And so what they'll do is hold up a mirror and say, this is you. This is what you do within this session, so I can imagine how you take that energy out into the world. And so that's exactly what they'll do during the session, but oftentimes, it's natural and it's normal to get defensive. When we feel attacked, when our ego feels bruised and battered, the first thing we try to do is protect the ego. That's our first inclination.
That's interesting. But one, I'm not egotistical, never have been. Two, I love it when someone can correct me because I'm all about learning. Three, I don't have a particular pattern that this woman understood. I'm like a sporadic type of person. I always have been. And I got disgusted with this session because it was disgusting. Thank God my CDPHP paid for it, or I would have used my doctor on demand, which I have on speed dial, but I would have to have paid a copay of $25. So if I used the CDPHP, I didn't have to pay. And the only reason why I chose that idiot is because she was the only one available, and she's always available. Nobody respects her whatever, her judgment. She don't have a clue when it comes to life experiences.
Is to protect the ego.
No.
But we have got to be willing to be vulnerable enough and courageous enough to tolerate constructive feedback. Please be able to tolerate constructive feedback, because if you are, that is a sign.
Constructive is a beautiful thing because that means you're building me up. I have no problem with that. Let me tell you what I have a problem with. People who can tell you to put the mirror up and look at yourself, are they able to do that within themselves? Do they have any self-awareness at all? Do they even practice what they preach? I'm serious, really. With all due respect. I always recommend that families go into therapy and get a therapist. Someone who is qualified.
Strong ego. Because those
ego.
with low ego strength find it very difficult to tolerate constructive feedback. They will always see constructive feedback as an attack on them.
Not me.
As opposed to...
I get so sick when people just misunderstand me. It just freaks me out. I've never been an egotistical girl. I've always exercised humility. You can look it on my channel. I talk about my flaws. I have so much self-awareness. But I can't stand people who refuse to practice what they preach and to look in the mirror themselves and look at the areas that you need work on. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with someone correcting me. In fact, I encourage it. I look for it because I'm a girl. Look, you correct me. Make me better. I always want to be better. Thank you. But don't come at me with your opinions, no facts, no stats, no numbers, no surveys. You constantly keep coming at me with opinions. You know what an opinion is to me? It's diarrhea. You need to take that, put it in the toilet and flush it, baby. Because anytime I speak about something you'll notice on my channel, baby, I come up with facts, stats, evidence, surveys, people who are being interviewed. That's why I love reaction videos. But like I said, my point is this. Just because you may be a professional, it don't mean you're a good one. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle.